Hello and welcome to November's recorded class. Just going to share my screen with you. Okay, so welcome everybody. Today I thought we would talk about the subject of wealth and what it can buy you. Okay, so I have an article that I downloaded from a news website, and it's talking about America's most expensive home. Okay, so we're going to go through the article, have a look at the vocab, and then we will, through that process, we will also watch a short video about the home itself, so you can have a look at that. Okay, now let me just go back there. Is that okay? Right, so let's have a look at the article. I will just navigate to the article. Okay, here we are. Now, the title of the article is America's Most Expensive Home, The One, Becomes $500 Million Nightmare for Giga-mansion Tycoon. Okay, so we know that the name of the house, the mansion, is The One. Okay, so the owner of the house, the developer of the house, is basing the name of the mansion on the location because it's number one in the street, but also number one in the world because he's trying to make it America's most expensive home. Now, because of the size of the mansion, we don't call it just a mansion, we can call it a giga-mansion. Okay, so when we use giga or mega in front of a word or an object, we are talking about something that is much larger than normal. And we really want to stress a very, very large scale. Okay, so when we use giga, giga is actually a word that is in the metric system of measurement, and it refers to a unit of measurement, which is 1 billion. Okay, so if we were to say a gigaliter, that would be 1 billion liters of liquid. Okay, when we use it in front of an object, for example, giga-mansion, we just mean a mansion that is of extremely large scale. Okay, and this giga-mansion is being developed by a tycoon. Okay, so a tycoon, we can see here, is someone that is very wealthy and powerful. We need to think of the difference between tycoon and billionaire. A billionaire is someone that owns $1 billion or more than $1 billion. Similarly, a millionaire is someone who owns $1 million or more. But a tycoon, when we say tycoon, we are referring to someone that doesn't just have money, but also has a lot of power. For example, we might talk about someone in business or industry as being a tycoon. Someone in the mining industry who is wealthy and powerful, we could call a mining tycoon or a mining magnate. That's the other word we could use there. Quite often you hear the word used with newspapers. For example, a newspaper tycoon would be someone that owns and runs not just one newspaper, but many newspapers and possibly other industries as well. Someone that is very powerful in industry. Okay, so you can see the picture of the mansion here. So this is obviously a top-down photo, or we can also call it an aerial photo because it's taken from the air. Okay, what we're going to do now is have a quick look at a short video which will introduce the mansion to you, and then we'll come back and go through the video. So let's have a look. If I can find the correct screen, here we go.
House is a 105,000 square foot modern masterpiece in Bel Air. Built by ex-movie producer turned mega mansion developer, Naomi, The One, is America's largest and most expensive private residence. After almost 10 years of development and design work, the largest house in the U.S., spanning nearly 100,000 square feet of living space, is reportedly coming to market with a price tag of $340 million. It would be listed for as much as $500 million in 2018. The property was developed by Naomi and designed by architect Paul McLean. This 100,000 square foot estate has a movie theater with 36 seats, a bowling alley, an auto gallery that can fit 30 cars, 2 wine cellars, actual art galleries, a cigar room with special ventilation, and everything you could want and imagine. The One has 21 bedrooms and 42 bathrooms. It is made up of 4 separate structures. The One holds another record for its sheer size. The quarter-mile-long Bel Air Manse is the largest in the world, comprising 21 bedrooms, 42 bathrooms, a 30-vehicle showroom, and 5 swimming pools. Inside, designer Catherine Rotondi of KFR Design made the sumptuous yet shockingly livable insides, hyping the gigantic size of the home with larger-than-usual craftsmanship pieces and custom decorations by Vesta. Every door in the house is electric, as are toilets. The ceilings are impossibly high, and most rooms have that outdoor-indoor feature McLean is famous for, which allows them to open up to the outside on nearly all sides. There's also a philanthropy wing, which can host 200 guests for charity galas and has something called sky pods that overlook the city. The One is truly one of a kind, for good and bad. And it could be yours if you're a billionaire looking for a property where you can live your luxury lifestyle with your beloved family and the perfect place to store your dream cars.
Okay, so this is the house called The One. Okay, so quite a spectacular house, I think you will agree. But it has run into trouble. So we know it's become a nightmare for its developer. Now let's have a look at the subtitle here. The subtitle tells us this property was billed as a billionaire's paradise, but the real estate pioneer, Naomi, has struggled to sell his grandest property. Okay, so when we use the word build here, when we build something, we advertise it or describe something in a particular way to make it sound interesting or important. So, for example, if you want to hype something and make it sound interesting, usually for advertising purposes, you would use build. For example, the new show is billed as the most exciting event to come to Taiwan this year. Okay, so it has the idea of advertising and making something sound really exciting. Okay, so obviously the real estate developer Niall has been advertising the property as a billionaire's paradise. Okay, now let's go down into the article itself, and the first page tells us that in the land of mega mansions, one sprawling home stands tall even amongst its multi-million-dollar neighbors. Okay, so here's a different way of saying giga-mansion. We can also say mega mansion. Mega just means vast or large. Okay, and then you can also actually use mega as a prefix, not to describe size so much as something that goes beyond other things or surpasses other things. For example, if you were to talk about a mega hit, you would be talking about a pop record that has sold many more units than other pop records. Okay, so yes, mega can relate to size, or it can relate to volume and success as well. Okay, so this home, we call it a sprawling home because, as you can see, the size of it is very large, and it sprawls or spreads out across a large area. As you can see, it covers the entire hilltop where it's located. Okay, now the second sentence says, fittingly named The One, the $500 million estate is the most audacious example of the lavish billionaire trend that inspired the Netflix smash hit Selling Sunset. Okay, so we call something, if something is fittingly named, that means, it just means appropriately named. So the name, The One, is very appropriate for this estate because it is the only one home in America that is this expensive. So the name is very appropriate. Okay. And then when I talk about it being an audacious example of the billionaire lifestyle, audacious means something is very, very daring and very kind of extraordinary and nearly shocking in a way. Okay, so this is, I think they're using the word audacious here because you can see the position of the home is very obvious. All the neighbors around can see where the home is located. It's also a very lavish home. It's very rich and luxurious. And so it's a very kind of what we would call an in-your-face example of a mega mansion. When we say in-your-face, we mean something that, it's another way of saying something that's very audacious, something that's very kind of obvious and stands out very, very much. Okay, so, and they're saying that these kinds of houses, these kinds of mega mansions, have inspired a smash hit, and what they mean by that is a television show. When we're talking about something being a hit, if we want to emphasize that it is a big hit, we would say it's a smash hit. So this show is called Selling Sunset. Now, that refers to Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, and the show is about real estate agents selling mega mansions on Sunset Boulevard. So the property that we are discussing today, The One, has these kinds of houses have inspired TV shows about real estate agents selling millionaire and billionaire properties. Let's look at the next sentence, which says, yet, less than a year after going on the market, the sun appears to be setting on the project cooked up by Niall Niami, a film producer turned giga-mansion tycoon. Now, if we have a look at the vocab there, When we talk about cooking up something, obviously we can talk about cooking up food, okay? We can use this when we're talking about preparing food for eating, especially something that you are preparing quite quickly. For example, I might say, just let me cook up some hamburgers, okay, if I'm trying to cook up a meal quickly for my children to eat who are hungry, okay? Or another example is, he cooked this whole meal up in less than 30 minutes, okay? So if we just say cook, that is not necessarily cooking quickly. If we say cook up, generally we're talking about doing something in a quicker time frame. Okay, so that was if we were talking about cooking, we could use cook up. But if we're not talking about cooking, we can still use cook up, but it means more to invent something or to deal with a particular situation. So for example, we would talk about cooking up an idea, cooking up an excuse, cooking up a plan, okay? So for an example, you could say, they cooked up a scheme or a plan to fool their neighbor. You'll have to cook up an excuse quickly. So it usually means when you're trying to think of something quickly to say, you might quickly cook up an excuse for your mother to say why you didn't write your homework. I might cook up a plan to fool my husband because I forgot to book our plane tickets. Okay, so cooking up, when we're not talking about cooking, we're talking about other situations, has the meaning of inventing something quickly. Okay, so this project was cooked up by the film producer Niall Niami. And we know from this that he was originally a film producer and then he became or turned into a giga-mansion tycoon. Okay, when we talk about the sun appears to be setting, we're talking about the sun going down. That means it's a phrase that we use when we're talking about something coming to an end. As the sun sets, the day comes to an end. So if the sun appears to be setting on your project, that means your project is coming to an end. Okay, and the final sentence on this page reads, last week, the one dubbed or called Australia's most expensive, not Australia, America's most expensive home, went into receivership and will be sold for a lower price after its owner defaulted on more than $165 million in debt. Okay, so when something is dubbed, just means something is called or become known as a nickname or another name. Okay, kind of like a joking name. So for example, you could be dubbed the class clown in your high school classroom. Okay, so that's kind of like a nickname that you can go by. So the one has been dubbed or has become known as or nicknamed as America's most expensive home. And unfortunately, it has gone into receivership. Something goes into receivership when you fail to pay the money you owe. Okay, so a business generally will go into receivership if the owners of the business fail to pay their financial debts. Okay, so that's what's happened to this mega mansion because its owner defaulted on their debt. So To default on a debt is to fail to pay your debt. Okay. So let's have a look at the next page. Now, here we have the size of the property, which is 105,000 square feet, which is twice as big as the White House. I wonder why one person or one family would want to live in a house that is so big. But I guess if you are a billionaire, maybe this is what you want to do. Okay, so this Bel Air property, Bel Air is the suburb in Los Angeles, is said to be twice as big as the White House. And Naomi began construction back in 2012, hoping to flip it for a profit. Now, when we talk about flipping a property, we don't mean to turn on its head. That's the usual meaning of to flip, is to turn something over by throwing it up into the air with a quick movement. For example, we would talk about flipping a coin. So if you want to know heads or tails, you flip the coin. Okay. When we talk about flipping houses, we keep that essence of turning something over quickly, but we mean to sell quickly. So for houses in the real estate sector, we want to buy a house and renovate very quickly and then sell it quickly for a higher profit. That is called flipping a house or an apartment, okay? The main idea is to make money and to sell quickly. So, for example, we might say in a sentence, he's flipped 3 houses for a big profit, okay? So you buy one house, you renovate that house, you sell for a higher profit, you buy your next house. That is called flipping properties or flipping houses. Okay, so let's move on. And the subtitle says, Hollywood dreamer who turned to giga-mansions. Now, the next sentence reads, born in Los Angeles, Naomi began his career chasing the Hollywood dream as a movie producer. Working primarily on B-movies in the late 90s, he produced films including Point Blank, but quickly realized there was more money to be made in property. Okay, so when we talk about movies, we usually don't say A movies, but we do say B movies. When we talk about movies that do very well, movies that are mainstream movies, we know that they are A movies. They are the best movies, okay? So we don't need to say A, we just say mainstream movies. When we talk about movies that are less successful, have smaller budget, we say that's a B movie, okay? So it is a movie that is still a commercial movie, but a much lower budget, and the actors would not be so well known. Okay, so Mr. Naomi worked on B movies, producing films before realizing that he couldn't make very much money. Okay. So the second sentence quotes Mr. Naomi as saying, in the film business, you really can't control things because there are too many hands in the pot. Okay, so when we talk about there being too many hands in the pot, that means we have too many people that are trying also to make money. Okay, so he wanted to make money and be the only person, the only boss, the only person making money. Okay, we talk about too many hands in the pot, as in too many people being involved. For example, when we say too many cooks spoil the broth, we mean it's kind of a similar saying in that we mean too many people are having input and too many people are involved. Okay, but too many hands in the pot while it's similar, it also is talking more about money. Too many people trying to get profit from one thing. Okay, so we go on to read. Changing careers to become a developer, he started remodeling or renovating smaller homes and making new ones from scratch. When we talk about making something from scratch, we're referring to doing something from the very beginning. Okay, we might also say from the ground up, which also means from the very beginning, from new. Okay, so it means that you're making use of something without relying on any previous work or assistance. For example, he built his own computer company from scratch. Let's go on. But in 2008, Naomi was alerted to the growing number of mega homes selling for more than 10 million. Okay, and here's a picture of Mr. Naomi looking very much like a real estate developer and movie producer. Okay, so the next page reads, he realized there was bigger and quicker money to be made by flipping over properties in exclusive celeb neighborhoods. Okay, so we can say flipping or flipping over. Both of those terms are okay. And where is he flipping properties? In exclusive celeb, which is short for celebrity, neighborhoods. Okay, and here we know that these neighborhoods house A-list stars like Leonardo DiCaprio, Matthew Perry, and Jodie Foster. Okay, so these streets, when we use the verb to house, that means that street, we know these celebrities live there. Okay, and when we talked earlier about B movies, so that is movies that are on the lower tier or lower level than the top movies. Again, with celebrities, we can say the same. We have A-list celebrities and B-list and C-list celebrities. So A-list stars would be the ones at the very top, for example, Leonardo DiCaprio, and we have B-list stars, probably more like lesser known movie stars or celebrities. Okay, so Mr. Naomi goes on to say, for the $5 million houses, the buyers still needed loans. But when you moved up 10 or 15 million, it was guys who didn't have to rely on the bank. Now said to be worth $50 million himself, the entrepreneur has become the embodiment of a lifestyle he tries to sell to his multimillionaire clients. On his Instagram page, he regularly shows off his glamorous adventures, posing on motorbikes and on trips to Europe, while of course showcasing some of his ridiculous houses which feature supercars glistening on revolving platforms. Now, there's a little bit to get through here. Okay, now we know an entrepreneur is someone who starts up a business, okay, and he's someone that embodies or is the embodiment of a certain lifestyle. He's talking about a luxury lifestyle here. So he's someone that represents a luxurious lifestyle. And the way he does this is on his Instagram page, he shows off or boasts about his adventures, which are very glamorous, very luxurious. He has motorbikes, he goes on trips, he showcases or demonstrates or shows his houses which have supercars. Supercars, we talk about luxury cars such as Porsches, Ferraris, etc. Okay, and they are glistening on revolving platforms. So a revolving platform is one that's going around like in maybe a car showroom. And if it's glistening, means it's sparkling, it's very polished. Okay, you could see in the mega mansion, many of the walls and floors, the surfaces were glistening because they were very lustrous, very sparkling. Okay, chasing ever more audacious projects, Naomi in 2012 teamed up with architect Paul McLean to begin work on the one. Okay, so when we have an audacious project, as I was explaining earlier, audacious can mean something that is very risky, very out there, but it can also mean something that is risky in the sense of taking a bold risk, for example, in business. So you might have a businessman, a tycoon, who does an audacious takeover of another company. So they are willing to take a bold risk doing something. So he has obviously undertaken an audacious project because it's so expensive. Okay. Now, and the final page, snapping up or quickly buying the site for 28 million, he set about cutting off the top of the hill to ensure its eventual owners could enjoy 360-degree views. So when we snap something up, it means we quickly and eagerly buy something because it's being sold cheaply or it's in short supply. Okay, so if you're trying to get concert tickets to see your favorite band and you know it's going to be very popular, you would say, I need to snap up the tickets before they're sold out. Okay, so the original plans included a cinema, bowling alley, pools, nightclub, casino, and 20 bedrooms. Okay, the largest of those, that means the largest bedroom, is said to be the 5,500 square foot, FT stands for feet or foot, master suite. This means the master bedroom. And we talk about a master suite if it also has generally an ensuite. So a master bedroom plus walk-in wardrobe plus bathroom would be a master suite. This master suite also has an office, a pool, and a kitchen. Okay, next paragraph. Picking up on the whitewash trends of celebrity homes like the Kardashians, McLean has said he favors or prefers pale colored designs for the interior. Okay, so when we talk about trends, we talk about things that are popular, okay, and when one person starts to do something and it becomes a trend, other people pick up on that trend or also try out that trend. And the trend that they're talking about here is the whitewash trend. And whitewash just means to apply a coat of whitewash or white paint over something. So a freshly whitewashed wall would be a wall that is freshly coated with white paint. Now whitewash, because it has this idea of covering up something, can also be used in another way to talk about to cover up or gloss over something bad. So if we're whitewashing a scandal, that means we want to cover up or gloss over the scandal because it is something negative or something bad that happened and we want to cover it up. Okay, now our next piece of vocab is the prospective buyers. The Telegraph is a UK newspaper which reported that prospective buyers, people that may seek to buy the house, they go to look at the house, but they haven't made a decision. Okay, so the prospective buyers, the possible buyers, were dazzled with promo films or promotional films advertising of beautiful women relaxing in the house. So to dazzle somebody with something is to amaze or overwhelm something with luxury, or you can be dazzled by beauty, or if you say you're dazzled by beauty, that means someone is so beautiful that you are completely amazed by them. Okay. Now, just to quickly get to the end of the article, let's go down to the next piece of vocab, which here in the last sentence on the page, beset by financing and construction problems. This means if we are beset by something, that means that we have something is causing us trouble over a period of time. So we would say social problems beset Taiwan, okay, or economic problems are besetting China. I was beset by economic problems. This real estate developer is beset by financing and construction problems. Okay, and then just to finish off, talks about the real estate developer falling out with his neighbors. So falling out means to have an argument with somebody. So here it says the real estate pioneer fell out with neighbors after holding illegal parties during the COVID lockdowns. Okay, so you might fall out with your friends or family. Okay, and then the last piece of vocab is to, I just dropped the mouse there, but we'll continue, that the, allegedly, after allegedly holding illegal parties. Allegedly means when we talk about something that people claim has happened, but there is no proof. So when we talk about I completely dropped the mouse there. When we talk about something happening, but we don't actually have proof that it happened. So we could say he allegedly stole the money, but we think it happened, but we don't have proof that it happened. Okay, so before it's been taken to court and proved in a court of law, we have to say allegedly. Okay, so I'm just going to close that there and come back to my screen in one sec. Where are we? Here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to finish sharing my screen. I hope you enjoyed that. I think it was an interesting look at a very luxurious mega mansion, but it does go to show the troubles that you can get into if you make an audacious project such as this, where you could potentially lose a lot of money and get into a lot of debt. It remains to be seen who will buy the house. Maybe we should check back in another year and see who's living there. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Thank you.